This is a 2000 Suzuki DR650. I bought it in February of 14. Yeah, it was all original except for the jetting. And the gentleman that had it was the second owner, and it only had 10,000 miles on it, and it was amazing. And we got to talking. I knew him because we used to have dinner with him and a group of adventure riders, and every week, and he would come in and he goes, "Hey, I'm trying to sell a DR. So I know somebody looking for one." And he goes, "Who?" I go, "Me." So I went over, and I knew I had to be real nice because he was loading bullets in his garage when I came in to look at the bike. And he was great. He was a great guy. And I rode it up and down the street, and I said, "Okay." And then I took it home. Actually, he drove it here because I had my car, and I brought it back home. Then I started doing stuff to it. Well, the first thing I did, I put on a large gas tank. That's actually made in Oregon, and it's aftermarket, and it holds 4.9 gallons, and it stretches over the years, so now it's a little over 5 gallons. And so with the gas that we buy mostly, it's mixed 10% with alcohol, so I get about 42 to 45 miles per gallon, depending on, and the throttle. If you're using real gas, you can pull 50. Some guys get 55. That's not me. Haven't had any trouble with it. I haven't had to carry extra. So 200, 220 miles, depending on what you're doing and where you're going. This one weighs stock about 375 pounds. This one here with all the junk on it, it's probably about 400. Yeah, because extra gas in my fat butt. I couldn't get his jetting to take, and so I put on a pumper carb, off-road carb, and what a difference that made. And yeah, you buy them and they're already jetted for your style of riding. They talk to you when you buy it, and you just describe your style of riding, and you just put it on, and it started the second hit. I started in, I mean, we made this rack. I put on the heat shield for my luggage. I adapted these bags to fit because the tank bag won't really fit. Modified this for the wind. Had my friend rebuild the suspension, which is the key thing on these. Put on an aftermarket seat, the tall seat. So the big joke is, just leave the key in it, nobody will steal it because it's 37 inches from my hand to the ground. Not many people can get on it. Okay, I put 36,000 miles on it, and I've been all over. It's just a great bike. I have a giant loop that's hanging from the ceiling up there, and it fits over here, and I had to build this out of sheet metal to keep it from melting on the muffler, and it attaches here, and then I attach a dry bag with my tent in it, and it, with the new suspension, it just works like a champ. A lot of times we go to Central Oregon, in John Day area, camping and riding on the gravel. The South Coast, a lot of times go down there. Up and down the valley, all over Oregon actually. California, Northern Cal, down to Quincy, down to Lake Almanor, all those wonderful roads. Yeah, it's just awesome. Yeah, I do take it on gravel, mainly gravel roads. It's not real. I'm not really a trail kind of guy. 2 years ago, the most fun I had with it, we went down, my friend has a cabin down in Lake Almanor, and so I went down through Mount Lassen, but you can zigzag down the back way and come by Glass Mountain, and it's gravel and pavement. And Glass Mountain's pretty cool. And it's a mountain of obsidian. And as you're coming down, you see the sun glinting off it. And it's like multifaceted. What the heck is that? And it was great. So you come down on 89 and zigzag in and out of there. Yeah. And you can buy the kits from the suspension company in North Carolina. And it has DDC inserts in the front. And what those do is they work with the oil, they restrict the oil so it doesn't dive. Before, I was going down a road and a deer jumped out, so I grabbed the front brake. I thought I was going to go through the ground. I mean, oh my God. And it just went like an old Beamer, like an Airhead Beamer, you know, so we fixed that, rebuilt the shock with all the components from the company in North Carolina. Cogent, I got a decal on the side. And it just transformed the bike, just transformed it. It's like getting an Olin's on a street bike. It's actually better. I got to get the rear shock rebuilt here. It's just for normal maintenance. It's the best $1,000 I've spent on the bike. Seriously. It's just an awesome thing. I have not had any troubles. Oh, I had a flat tire one time up in Albany. Came out of a restaurant and there's a screw sticking out of the back tire. So I just took it down to Mr. Ed's shop down there by the railroad tracks, and we changed it, put a new tube in it, and that was it. So, knock on wood, you know. It came with a set of real dirt tires, and they burned off in about 2,500 miles. So I've actually changed to Shinko 705s, front and rear. Amazing tires. They're really inexpensive, and I thought maybe I would die. They stick like glue, and they work great on the gravel. They're not, they're not going to work off-road like a real dirt bike tire. They're more of a rain tire, and they really work well in the rain. And I've been very impressed with them. And you get a set for 120 bucks. That's 2 tires. So I mean, how can you beat that? So what you do is when you buy cheap tires, you spend the money and buy the $40 real rubber tubes, and they'll last like 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 tires, because quality, because that's the most susceptible to damage is the tube. Yeah, you get a Metzler or a name brand one, not some of these, Erzat ones, Most of them would be like Metzler or Continental or even Bridgestone. They make real rubber tubes. Spend the money. Yeah, that's a 2-inch riser, and it's also a aftermarket handlebar. It's made out of alloy, and so it doesn't really vibrate, but it's stronger. So if you drop your bike, this won't bend like a stock handlebar. And it's a 2-inch riser. So it brings it up so I can stand up and ride bike standing up when you're on a gnarly gravel road. You want to ride standing up a lot of times. And that allows me to do that. And then you can just loosen it up and you can readjust position where you want the handlebar. It's real easy. And away you go. And I carry, the toolkit's over here, augmented the size of the toolkit 14 inches with 3-inch ABS sewer pipe. So I carry the standard toolkit, a patch kit, and tire irons and things like that. So if push comes to shove, you got everything you need. They started this model in 1996. And it's kind of like Volkswagens. Every year they put a little improvement in it. They still sell it in 2021. It's pretty much the same bike, except with some minor things. This is a 2000. All the parts, the new parts will fit, and the old parts will fit. It's really pretty an incredible bike. And it's really simple to tune, and it's real easy to adjust the valves. I put in new clutches a couple of times. I've rebuilt the front. I can adjust the valves. It takes about an hour, and you know, because I do it slow. In the back here, you take this out and re-greased all the bearings in there. It's no big deal. And I was kind of scared to do it, but I found that it's just straightforward. On the internet, on adventureriders.com, they have the DR650 thread, and it's like 11,000 things in there. So if someone's done to this bike what you think you might want to do, so you can just go in there and look it up, and it'll come up and it'll tell you how to do it. So you either print it out, or you just or you can ask them again, and they're happy to tell you. This is like the national bike of Australia, and the Australian guys have things on YouTube, and so you just watch them, and they show you how to do anything. It's just really great. ProCycle, which is the company that sponsored and developed all the aftermarket products to this bike, the guy just lives over here, and his shop is over in Springfield, and they're the most helpful people in the world. You call them up, oh yeah, you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, we have that on sale. Okay, I'll be over to get it. It's just wonderful. And people come from all over the United States to buy stuff from them. Yeah, it's just wonderful. I have to say it's probably the best bike I've ever owned. And I've owned about 35 bikes. Huh. And I've had, all kinds of different ones. And this thing is it's because I can do it. I can fix it. I don't worry about it. It's not, you're not going to put two people on this, unless you got like a little kid. But, I'm 6'2". Yeah, that's another thing. I did have to lower these and move it back an inch. Of course, ProCycle sells it, and you just put it on. I can't believe it. I mean, how much fun it is, and where you can go with it. Yeah. The only other bike I kept longer, I kept one of my DSAs for 30 years, but this is on a par with it. It starts burning oil, and maybe when it gets 50, 60,000 miles. I got 45,000 on it now. They say sometimes, they'll go bad, they'll start burning oil. So what you do is you take the barrel in, you bring it over to ProCycle, and they sell you a 790 kit. So for $1,000, you can get a 790, and you can put it together yourself. You're not necessarily going to get more horsepower, but it'll be more torque, and you won't lose any gas mileage. And it's smoother. And then a lot of guys that run them on the highway, you can change the sprockets on the front in 5 minutes. So they come with a 15-tooth front sprocket, and guys that ride on the real dirt, they'll put a 14 on the front, or run like a 47 on the back, and put a 14. So I mean, that's really a dirt bike geary. I run 16 on the front, and a 42. 42 is what it comes with on the rear. I haven't had any trouble going any place. I put a 41 on the back, but it just wouldn't pull it, so I took it off. Yeah, the longest trip on it, every year I used to go down to the Autumn Beamer Bash down in Quincy, California. So it's about 470 miles one way. Make it in a day, it's not a big deal. It was real funny. I was at a gas station and this guy comes up and goes, "Wow, you got a DR, I got a 350. I go, "Yeah, awesome. You here for the Beamer rally?" I go, "Yeah." He says, "They let you in there?" I went, "Well, yeah, but I have to park by the dumpster." So I've been going down there, like 15 years, but they don't have it there anymore. But and then you ride all the back roads down there, because it's like incredible. People don't, you know, you're going up through the Sierras, and it's just awesome. Yeah, it's like when we go to John Day, you know, the roads up there, oh my God. It's actually really remarkable on the corners. I mean, it's not a Ninja, of course, but on the freeway, it's not a freeway bike. The most I've been on a freeway on this bike is 50 miles. That's about it. I just can't deal with that. It's just too hard. And so what you do is you just find the alternate routes. And usually that's the best way. This is the curvy way. On the corners, it does pretty well. Better than you think. And some of the guys will run a 19 front, and that'll give you a little more handling on the corners. And then some guys will also make them into a motard, so they'll run a 17 front and a 17 rear, which is a 17 rear. They have a lot of fun. Totally blew. I bought it thinking, well, heck, you know, what the hell? I'll just have it for a while. Yes. And used ones, which is really amazing, with 40,000 on them, they go for 4,500 bucks. Because they're highly sought after. It's amazing. Very, very popular here in the Pacific Northwest. It's kind of a cult bike. You see a lot of them around town. Maybe it's because I have one and I see them. That's for plugging in your electric vest or for plugging in your battery charger. It comes right off the battery. And it also holds this on, because sometimes it can work loose. And there's one on the other side too. And what I like about it is you can make things for it. With my friend Dave, we made this rack. He had some extra aluminum hanging around, so we just cut it out on a big jigsaw and took a file to it and bored holes in it. And we mounted it to the stock rack. And it's been on there for 6 years and works great. The one big fault with these bikes is inside on this side is a electrical connection. And the name of what they call it escapes me, but it's very common. And what a lot of people do is they'll take it apart. You have to take the clutch off and everything. You have to check with a torque wrench. Put it on with some Loctite, or ProCycle sells a kit, and it locks it on, and then you put on safety wire and you drill it out. And you got to do that, because if you don't, the bolt will come off and drop down, and it'll go into your transmission and blow your gears. Some of these do have trouble with third gear. It's rare, but it can happen, so you got to keep your eyes on that. Of course, you can buy an aftermarket transmission for it now, made in England, so it's going to cost you like about $1,800 just for the 5 gears, and then you got to put it in. On this side here, on the inside, there's a bolt that will jam, and you have to take it off and cut it off the frame, and you put a bolt in there into the hole, because it'll the chain will get caught in it, and it'll take out your train. Yeah, but other than that, there's a couple other little things, but just minor stuff. I know guys that go cross country on them. They go down. A lot of guys go down to South America on these. In Chile, this is like what the police use. You know, a lot of guys go down to Argentina and you know, Tierra del Fuego and stuff like that. And they'll take these rather than a Beamer, because it's cheaper to get it fixed or to get parts. And I've dropped this thing once, and it was right behind you, up against the wall in the garage here. Yeah, that's when I broke the shift lever.
Yeah.
Okay, I put 36,000 miles on it, and I've been all over. It's just a great bike.